Hey everybody, it's Logan from Big Mouth Announcing. What's going on? It is today. What is today? Today's Wednesday the 16th, and we are just like 4 or 5 short days away from the 3M half marathon. It's one of the bigger events that we do. At the finish line, we've got 8 speakers, and then at the start line, we have 13. Lots and lots and lots of cable and speakers and craziness going on out there, but it is a ton of fun. One of the things I kind of wanted to talk about today, since I didn't have any races last week, and I want to do a post-race review for 3M and the Tommy Ketterhagen Road Race, which are this weekend. I'm going to do that next week. So this week, what I figured I'd do is, people ask me every now and then, like, hey, what do I use for this? What do I use for that? So I thought I would just kind of give you an overview of what I use for speakers. I use one particular brand of speakers. It's called QSC. They make about 6 or 7 different types. I stick with their K series. I have the QSC K8s, K10s, and K12s. 12s are the biggest. They all pack 1,000 watts, but the bigger they are, the bigger the sound, I guess is the best way to put it. So, like right here, this is a QSC K8. It's a smaller version. They're good for indoor venues. They don't pack a lot of thump by themselves. The K10 and the K12 puts a little bit more bass into it. But with the K8s, if you've got a really bassy tune, like maybe some hip hop or some heavy rap or whatnot that want to carry a lot of bass, this isn't the speaker you want to use unless you put a subwoofer on it, and QSC makes those as well. But for what I do, outdoor venues, I don't need a subwoofer, and actually I don't use the K8s outside all that often. If it's a small, like a political rally, had one 3 or 4 months ago. They asked for something small and nothing too crazy, so I got 2 K8s out there to them and made it work. They said it sounded great. Again, not a lot of bass needed, so. All my speakers that I use come with what I call a raincoat. It's a QSC raincoat. They open up. The front end opens up, and I'll show you right now. The front end, one more time, opens up, and it's all mesh. This is where the front of the speaker is. This is what I keep on it at all times. When I am playing music or when I'm using them, I open up the front, and it gives a great sound. When it's raining or misting, or it's weather that I don't trust, which happens a lot, I close the front. And of course, it zips shut, and then it Velcros on the side. Still works out great. On the back, it has two kind of sleeves or pockets that you can reach your hand into to get to the back of the speaker. Okay. Speaking of the back of the speaker, let's see if we can do this right. So this is the back of a QSC K8. It looks kind of complicated, but when you break it down for what I do or for what we do at Big Mouth Announcing, it's not rocket science, okay? So easy thing when setting up a QSC speaker. First thing, you gotta get power to it. It's not gonna work without any power. So you have blue here. Every QSC speaker should come with if you buy it new at least, should come with what I refer to as a blue end cable. It plugs into the back of the speaker just like that. And then your outlet or your plug plugs into an outlet or plugs into a multi-plug, a pigtail, or whatever. The one thing about speakers, it doesn't matter if it's a K8, K10, or K12, they suck some juice. They do suck electrical juice. I can put 4 of these speakers and all my gear on a 2,000 watt generator and be okay. I can't do the same thing with a K12. K12 is just too much power. Okay, so you got to kind of figure it out as you go along. That's what I do. I actually bought, years ago, I bought 2 K12s off of this website called Musicians Friends. It took me about 2 years, no joke. It took me 2 years to figure out actually how to use them. I was using Yamaha speakers at the time, and I had these in the house, and I told myself one day, I was like, I have to figure out how to make these work. Well, once I figured it out, I realized that these were the speakers I was going to go with till the end of time. QSC makes top of the line product. JBL makes a great speaker. Mackie makes a great speaker, but QSC they are awesome. They really are. and easy to work with again. So jumping back into it, you got to give it some power. No problem. If you just want to play, and this is totally cool, you can play just an iPod or your laptop or whatever off of a QSC speaker, but you need a plug because it's not Bluetooth enabled. The older ones, now they have new ones like the K 8.2s, 10.2s, and 12.2s that have the possibility of doing that, but I'm never going to do that. I don't need to do that. It's not what we do here at Big Mouth Announcing. So to hook up an iPod into this is so ridiculously easy. You have to buy a cable for it, and I actually have one right over here. This is the larger version of it, or single version. If you want to plug in an iPod, all you would need to do is take one of the two of the orange or the gray, and you could easily just plug it right into that. Yep, easy peasy. And then this end plugs into your device, whether it's an iPhone, iPad, laptop, whatever you want. It all works out of this. So you can plug it into there now, and then you would control the volume here. When doing volume on a QSC speaker, y'all, make sure it has clicks. So like 1 click up, 2 clicks up, 3 clicks up. I always turn my laptop or whatever I'm using all the way up. Actually, let me rephrase that. I usually give this 2 clicks, and then I start my laptop at about 50% on the volume, and then increase it. Because if you turn this all the way up, and then you plug in your laptop, you are going to blow your mind. And not in a good way. It's going to hurt. So make sure all your stuff is turned down, and then gradually bring it up together along with this. Now, the trickiest part of the whole thing of working with the QSC is where to put your cable. So say if you're going to run it from a mixer or from another speaker, you have to use what's called XLR cable. Okay? I've got thousands of feet of this stuff. It's basically referred to as speaker cable in my business, XLR cable. It transfers audio and data. So you can get it really anywhere, but go to a local music shop and pick it up, especially local. Support your local music shop, people. It's like supporting your local bike shop. Support local music shops. Here in Austin, straight music is awesome. I love the guys, Rolland and the crew, Patrick, who looks like Jughead from the Archies. I love it. Good people. So make sure you support your local music shop. Okay, so when plugging this in, if you're going to plug it in from a mixer, or if it's coming from another, we'll just say coming from a mixer, this end just plugs in here. Boom, done. And then you run your volume off of the left side. Now, how I was taught is that to cut down the confusion, cut the speaker in half on the back. Just cut the speaker in half and use one side or the other. Okay, just one side or the other. So I always just use the left side. I always use this side. And this controls the volume on the left side. This controls the volume on the right side. But since I don't use the right side all that much, I never really use this. But when it comes to the left side, this is my volume. And if I'm going to daisy chain, which means if I'm going to plug this speaker in, so say it goes from the mixer to this speaker, and if it plugs into another speaker, and we're just going to be real quick, the other end of the XLR cable, which is the female end, just goes right in the bottom. Oh, excuse me, just goes right in the bottom. And then you would have, actually, wait, did I get that right? No, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't. If you're going to daisy chain from one speaker to the next, and that is plugged in, and the opposite end is in your mixer. Okay, so the mixer comes in here, and then if you're going to daisy chain out to go to another speaker, you would plug in the opposite end into that, and then this cable would run all the way to your next speaker, and you plug it in. It takes a while to figure it out, but once you get it, you never forget it. A cool adjustment, little thing on it here. I always make sure my mic line is up. Right now it's off, but I always make sure that's up because I always want microphone. Always. Music takes a second place in my book when it comes to it. But make sure you have your mic up. I always keep, this is kind of the bass on it if you want. It has a normal, then it has deep, but all the way up top, if you're running an external subwoofer or external bass, that you want to make sure it's plugged up to that. I don't use those, so I always make sure my stuff is on deep, And then, of course, I got to have vocal boost because I got to sound good. So make sure you get the vocal boost up. And then the power, real simple. You don't need really to do too much with it. It's called the front LED. You don't really need to do too much with that. You can have it on any 3 setting. Just as long as once you plug this in, make sure you hit this little, oh, I can barely see it. Make sure you hit this little button down here. That's your on-off switch. It takes about 5 to 6 seconds to boot up. And once you get a little blue light right here, it means you've got the power. So make sure, plug it in, turn it on, make sure the blue light's on, plug in your XLR cables or your iPod or whatnot. You can plug it into there, or if you have the 2 small prong connectors, they plug into here as well. Very simple. Again, take care of your equipment and your equipment will take care of you. I ran into a problem. We dropped a speaker at an event and it didn't work very well after that. Actually, it sounded horrible. So I took it to a local repair shop here in Austin, Texas, and they repaired it. But it is not cheap. So make sure you protect your speakers as best you can. Like I have my raincoats on them at all times. They never come off. And if I am going to put them up outside on a speaker stand, I make sure I have weight at the bottom of the speaker stand, because when a speaker is 7 feet high, the wind may catch it and push it over one end or another. I always have a weighted sandbell at the bottom of that, countering where the wind is blowing or where the weak point is in the speaker stand, say if it's on an angle or whatnot. So that kind of breaks down what you can do with a QSC speaker, whether it's the K8, K10, K12. I got a couple of K131s. 181s. They're monstrous. They're huge. I use them 1 time a year for the Austin Marathon because they're a bitch to move around. But my goodness, they are scary loud, and I love it. QSC with Big Mouth Announcing. You can always, if you want to purchase a QSC, if you have more questions, go to Straight Music. They have 2 locations, one up north off of 183 and 620, and another down south at South Lamar and Ben White. The guys are awesome. I mean, really, they're very knowledgeable, and it's so knowledgeable that I actually started using their QSC mixers, which you need an engineering degree to figure out. I use them, but on a scale of 1 to 10, I know about a 1. But I know how to make them work, and I know how to make them sound good enough. QSC, top of the line, way to go. Again, thanks everybody for watching. If you can, like us on Facebook, follow us on the Instas. We're at Big Mouth Logan or at Big Mouth Announcing on the Twitters, the Facebooks. Tell all your friends how awesome we are. And hopefully we'll see you at the races. If we don't see you at 3M, hopefully we'll see you at the marathon. We've got the Pace Bend Road Race coming up, Pace Bend Ultras coming up. The Driveway Series is starting up. I'm going out to the Woodlands for the Woodlands Marathon. We've got Get Your Rear in Gear. We've got the Trail Run coming up with Rochelle, and so much more. I don't want to forget about it, but hopefully we'll see you soon somewhere down the line, guys. Thanks, y'all. We appreciate it.